Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Brain dead. Empty. Those are two words I learned on November 10th, 1985. Words that I didn't know as a 10-year-old. And they were words spoken by my father to me when I learned about the death of one of my heroes. And I'll try to turn around so you can see who it was. Pelle Lindbergh. Pelle Lindbergh was a goalie for the Flyers back in the 80s. And before I introduce my really special guest and really close friend now, Charlie Minn, just want to give you an account of what that day was like for all of us. Back in 1985, the Flyers were in the playoffs in the spring. And the whole street was decorated like Christmas. It was great. We celebrated together, and it really was a bonding experience with the whole street in South Philadelphia. And they almost won a Stanley Cup with Pelle Lindbergh being the superstar goaltender that he was. Great young team, was unexpected. And then 1985-86 was starting the same way. Pelle was playing great. The Flyers won 10 games in a row. It looked like everything was sky high, and it was going to happen all over again. We were going to relive the joy of 84-85 one more time, at least. And we went to a communion breakfast, and when we came out, we had such a good morning. I saw Rolly Massimino, who was the coach of the defending champion Villanova Wildcats basketball team. Hung out with him that morning. And then when we got out of this breakfast, we were right in front of St. Monica's Church in South Philly. And a lady said she's been crying all morning. And we asked her why. And she said one of the Flyers' young goaltenders was seriously hurt in a car accident. And she didn't know who it was. So we drove home and we listened to KYW News Radio in Philadelphia. And we didn't hear anything on the way home. But when we got to the house, they were talking that Pelle Lindbergh was gravely injured in a car accident that morning. And it was just so surreal. And I remember going to my grandparents' house that day in the car. The news just kept getting worse and worse until finally they said he was brain dead. And I said to my father, what does that mean? That he's brain dead? He'll get better, right? And I'm sure it was tough for my father to say no to a 10-year-old. He's not going to get better. And he's really dead for all intents and purposes. So hard to reconcile that. And I just remember the whole day feeling just completely drained. And my father used the word for that I didn't know, feeling empty. And I did. I felt really empty that day. And I've written about this. 20 years ago, I started to interview Flyers from the past and management from the past. Bobby Clark, Ed Snyder, Jay Snyder, so many different people, Kevin Cady, I'm Organi. And I really wanted to do something about Pelle. And I tried for so long, and there was really not much to do. But Charlie has done an amazing job with the Swede of Philadelphia, this documentary about Pelle Lindbergh, about his life and about his death. And I can't thank him enough for letting me be a very small part of it to help promote it, for him to use some of my editing. He allowed me to see a preview of the movie to give him some editorial ideas, and I really appreciate that. So with that, let's bring in Charlie Minn, the director of the Swede of Philadelphia. What's up, Charlie?
Justin, this was a long time coming, and I'm glad that we're finally able to connect, and the timing couldn't be better with the movie opening this Wednesday, the 5th.
That's right. So tell me a little bit about it. How'd you get started in it, Charlie? What made this an important project for you?
Bill Meltzer. You and I both know Bill, who is
Yep.
a hockey historian, really a Flyers historian. I had a chance meeting with Bill at Wells Fargo. I think it was called Wells Fargo 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And we just kind of hit it off, talking hockey and life and whatnot. And 4 years later, 2025 rolled around, and I was kind of looking to get out of the true crime genre. I got kind of burned out doing that. So I wanted to do a hockey documentary because hockey really is my love. And I noticed that Pelle Lindbergh 40-year anniversary was coming up. So if it wasn't for Bill, there's no way this movie would have been made. He gave me every contact, every lead, every email, phone number, you name it. And he truly was a producer on this film. And he also participated in the documentary as well because he co-authored a book about Pelle Lindbergh. So I couldn't have found a better person to help me with this project. And I can sincerely say there's no movie without Bill Meltzer.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Bill, like you said, helped write the English version of Behind the White Mask, which was about Pelle's life and death, and just an amazing book. So I don't know if it's out of print, but if anybody can get their hands on it, it's a really good read, really uh, in depth for sure.
Well, you lent me the book, Justin, and I can't thank you enough. And it's a shame. I don't think the book is in circulation. It really ought to be. And if you're ever going to bring it back, this would be the year because the 40-year anniversary is in a week or so. So why not bring it back? Because based on some of the Facebook pages I've seen on Pelle Lindbergh, he's still very popular 40 years later, which says a lot for him. So I think the book is very informative. It was well researched, and the book should be in circulation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It should be, and hopefully it will come back. But
Yeah,
what I know that in sports we try to project what would have been.
all right.
What would Pelle have been, do you think, if he had lived and played another 5, 6, 7 years?
Wow, that's a loaded question, Justin. We
It is.
can sit here until we turn blue in the face and predict what could have been. None of us will ever know for sure, but for the most part, I've heard people say he probably would have won 1 or 2 cups. I mean, we know how hard it is to win a Stanley Cup. It's the hardest trophy to win, and between all 4 major sports, the 4 rounds are absolutely grueling. You need some lady luck. You need hot goaltending, and you have to win in overtime. I've always said that in playoff hockey. If you don't win in overtime, then you'll be on the golf courses very soon. So would Pelle have won a Stanley Cup or 2? Probably. In '87, they went to the finals with Ron Hextall. The year Pelle died in '86, the team was burned out, from what I understand. And Bob Froese was outplayed in the playoffs. Had a great regular season. Actually should have won the Vezina Trophy in '85, '86. And
Absolutely.
if it wasn't for Pelle's death, Bob Froese would have been traded to the LA Kings. So a lot of things happen because of Pelle's passing. And unfortunately, the Flyers haven't won a Stanley Cup in the last 50 years. And some people I've heard call it the Pelle curse. That's just some of the things I'm hearing. So unfortunate. Saddest day in Flyers history, easily. Pelle loved to go fast. And a lot of people try to tell him to slow down. But once that's in your DNA, Justin, it's just hard to shake.
It really is. It is. And I know this, and you know this, but we'll tell the viewers, probably the least likely person to have been in an accident where alcohol was involved would be Pelle Lindbergh.
100%. Everyone said he was not an avid drinker. Pelle got screwed that morning, and I'll explain. He was overserved. And whether it was a bartender, whether it was a teammate buying too many rounds, I'm not saying this was done intentionally. And I really want to make myself clear here because I'm talking about some heavy stuff here. I'm not exonerating Pelle Lindbergh 100%. He was a grown man. He was 26 years old. He chose to drink. He chose to drive. He chose to speed. And the end result was deadly for him. And he could have, quite frankly, killed 2 other people in the car. It's a miracle. When you look at the car, it's a miracle that anyone survived that. And I was told later, had Pelle lived and one of the other two, if not both, had died, Pelle Lindbergh would have gone to jail for vehicular homicide.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how we should look at this man. Was he an unbelievable goalie that paved the way for future European goalies? Or was he an athlete that, after just 3 years, made a horrible decision and it cost him his life? How do you look at this man? It really is an interesting sociology question, really.
It is. And I think that's a decision that everybody has to make. But I remember my father that morning, 40 years ago, saying to me, you can't condemn him. He made a mistake. It was a terrible mistake. He shouldn't have done it, but you can't condemn him. He paid the ultimate price for
Right.
what happened. So, I kind of strongly lean that way, that I think that after 40 years, I think we got to let that go a little bit and say, what, he was a good man. He's so good at kids. I don't know if you know this, but he played pond hockey with kids around the neighborhood.
We have a couple of pictures in the documentary with Pelle posing with kids in pictures, and he wanted a family with his fiancee Shestine. They were going to get married. Pelle loved children. Pelle loved people. He was a people person. He was like Bernie, very outgoing, very gregarious, very sociable, very energetic, and he loved the American culture. He absolutely loved Philadelphia. It was a love affair between the city of Philadelphia, the fans, and Pelle. And Pelle and Bernie also had strong love. They were like father and son.
Yes.
Pelle called Bernie my second dad.
Yeah. And I know that Pelle, one of the people the only guy he really modeled himself after was Bernie Parent, because in Sweden, when he was a kid, he watched films of the 74 and 75 Stanley Cup finals and watched Bernie.
Right.
And that was the impetus to make him want to be a goaltender. He even put Flyers insignias on his mask in Sweden. What are the odds that this guy in Sweden, this young kid in Sweden, and this superstar French-Canadian hockey player in Philadelphia, who was idolized by this kid, would then become coach and protege and have the relationship that they had? I mean, it's $1 billion to 1 shot for that to happen.
Yeah, here you have a goalie from Sweden who's looking up to a French Canadian. I mean, there really is no connection there, except human beings and being goaltenders. And it shows a very open mind from Pelle Lindbergh. He was only 15 or 16 years old when he was watching on film Bernie Parent do his magic with Philadelphia. So what a good guy to look up to. Pelle actually wrote to the Flyers saying, I want you guys to draft me. So he truly wanted to become the next Bernie Parent. And again, it's that big what if, like you posed before. Had Pelle lived, what kind of a career would he have had? How many cups would he have won? Would he win 2 cups like Bernie Parent did? We'll never know, unfortunately.
No. I do have to say, as a hockey person myself, I don't think he would hit the level that Bernie Parent did. I think that is a select few Mount Rushmore type goaltender. Do I think Pelle would have been a Hall of Famer? Quite frankly, yes, I do. I think he would have had Hall of Fame type credentials. But when people say he would have been another Bernie Parent or he was the best ever, that's a question that is totally up in the air, and I don't think we'll ever, like you said, know the answer to that. And that's coming from somebody who really idolized him as a kid. So
right,
just be objective. Do you agree with that, or?
It's so hard to tell. I mean, Bernie was a very hard act to follow. To win it back to back like that, I mean, he was easier in his era. But the Oilers did it, the Islanders did it, the Canadians did it right after the Flyers.
Right.
So repeating back then was a lot easier than it is now. I mean, now it's hard just to go to the finals 2 years in a row, whether you win or lose. It's so grueling. Those 4 rounds, back in the day, you only had to win, I think, 3 rounds. There were a lot less teams. And I think the first round was best out of 3, which almost feels like a joke when you look at all the grueling series now. I mean, can you believe hockey playoffs back in the day was a best of 3? If you lose game 1, you're in trouble. You got to win the next.
Back's against the wall.
You got to win the next 2. I mean, just like that, the series could be over. Kind of like baseball now with the best of 3. baseball a couple years ago. It was a best of one. Remember that wild card game they had? I could never understand that. You play 162 games and you decided in one game. But yeah, I mean that's a question that is often asked. What kind of a career would Pelle have had? And like I said, most people predict that he would have won probably at least one cup. But Justin, you and I know how difficult it is to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, the Flyers have gone 50 years without winning a cup. Some teams have never even played in the finals. So, I mean, look at teams like the Buffalo Sabres, and I think the Arizona Coyotes franchise has never played in a final. So it's just so difficult.
Yeah. I got a chance, and I'm not delusional to think that Bernie Parent was my best friend, but I got a chance to become friends with Bernie Parent through my dealings with the Flyers, through my charity and other events. And quick funny story, I remember in 2024, Bernie had just had his fourth or fifth back surgery, and we were going downstairs. It was Mark Recchi night, and we were going to go downstairs, and the elevators weren't working. So Bernie said, "I'm not going to be able to get down there." So I looked over at him. I said, "Bernie, hop on." So he jumped on my back, and I literally, with the help of a friend of mine, carried him all the way down the stairs to the bottom floor of the Wells Fargo Center. And all I could think the whole time is, do not drop the legend. Whatever you do not drop the legend.
Yeah. How many flights of stairs did you go down?
We went down 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2. But it was, a little nerve wracking. You're carrying precious cargo there.
Yeah. And Mark Recchi didn't help you, or
he wasn't around. He was doing other things at the time. Yeah.
So Bernie was by himself?
Bernie was by himself. Yeah. Yeah. We were at the elevator. Yeah.
Wow.
But we had gotten to talk, and I know he didn't love to talk about Pelle Lindbergh a lot because I know it was very, very emotional for him. But he did share some stories with me about Pelle Lindbergh that we both know, you and I both know, that people don't know. And when they come to the movie, they're going to learn things that they may think they knew the whole story of Pelle Lindbergh. When I saw your film, Charlie, I know they don't know the whole story, because there were even things that I, being a super fan, learned from your film, and that's pretty impressive.
Well, I would say most fans, even diehard Flyer fans, pretty much all they know is that Pelle drank, drove, sped, crashed, and died, and that's it. They don't know the little small tidbits about that morning. And I really try to get down to the bottom of it. It just kind of surprises me that the Flyers multi-purpose facility back in the day in Voorhees, I mean, they're still practicing in Voorhees now, but back in the day, they practiced at the Coliseum. That's what it was called.
Right.
And the place had a bar. I think the bar was called Shooters. And I mean, Bob Froese, when I interviewed him off camera, he said to me, it's just too easy, right? It's just too easy when the bar is in your practice facility. So whatever the case may be, after practice, you just want to go to the bar, have a couple, just to kind of relax and lighten the mood a little bit. And, when the Flyers had a day off, they're so comfortable with the Coliseum. They probably know a lot of the people there.
Right.
And they probably got a lot of perks. Back in the 80s, when there's no social media, no cell phone cameras, you could pretty much do whatever. Like, I think Bob summed it up when he told me it's just too easy. So, yeah, I mean, I just kind of think about that, and I'm like, a bar and a hockey facility? I mean, I don't know. It's a little odd.
Yeah, and you got to remember, these are kids. These are 20, 21, 22.
Youngest team in the league. Yeah.
They were. Yeah. I think Mark Howe was the oldest player. Well, yeah, at that time, I think Mark Howe was 30 or 31 and might have been the oldest player. Mike Keenan was 35 as a coach.
And Bobby Clark was a GM at 36.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Bobby Clark, the GM, was younger than some of the players in the National Hockey League. So, Murray Craven and Rick Tocchet, who were front and center that morning, they were both 21, barely allowed to drink. And they were there that night into the morning at the Coliseum, along with Brad Marsh. Yeah, I mean, that morning, something horribly went wrong. And I say Pelle got overserved. His blood alcohol level was more than 2 times the legal limit. And the fact that he was not an avid drinker really made me think that, okay, what went wrong? I mean, did Pelle not know that he was drunk? Did he not know that he was intoxicated? Did the bartender just recklessly serve the person? I mean, that's actually against the law to serve someone when they're not all there. You're not supposed to do that.
Right, it's called the social host law.
Was Pelle's teammates irresponsible as well, buying him rounds? I mean, should they have known that he was maybe slightly impaired? But you raise a good point. These are kids. They're 21 years old. They're not 30. They don't have enough life experience to perhaps see the other side of the fence and look at a human being and go, you know something? I think he's had enough. You know, when you're young.
Good, sure.
Yeah, the 80s was very loose. I mean, I had a couple of people in the movie tell me I drank and drove. I mean, they literally told me that. Yeah. So different culture back then. I'm not saying that makes it right. I'm not condoning it, but it's a whole different time now with social media and everyone looking at every move you make and is possibly being recorded. You know, back in the mid 80s, it was very, very loose.
It was. And I think that was across the board. I don't think that was just hockey or just athletes. I think that was pretty much that's why you had mad mothers against drunk driving. You had sad students against drunk driving. I think that's why those started up, because it was so prevalent in the 80s that, you know, people were losing their lives for, you know, just having a couple drinks and going driving. It just wasn't
right.
Wasn't
and the seatbelt law in New Jersey was just put in months before the Lindbergh crash. In 84, there was no seatbelt law, if you could believe it. In New Jersey, you could literally drive without a seatbelt and not get into trouble. A lot of people will get into their car. I mean, think about how much we've come over the years. Like back in 84, when you got into your car, a lot of people didn't even think about having putting their seatbelt on. It almost sounds nuts. But and speaking of which, the investigators told me that Pelle and Ed Parvin were not wearing seatbelts. Kathleen McNeil, who was sitting in the middle in the console, couldn't have been because there's no seatbelt there.
Right.
And the investigators told me, a couple of them, that had Ed Parvin and Pelle Lindbergh been wearing seatbelts, there might have been a different outcome.
Yeah. It's so unfortunate how many things had to go wrong for that to happen.
You're right.
Curve.
Yeah, we talk about the stars aligning. In this case, the stars aligned in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Every little thing happened that, I mean, Pelle was not even going to go out that night. His mom was in town.
That's right.
He told his fiance, I'll be back in like an hour. Well, 1 hour turned into 2, 2 turned into 3, 3 turned into 4. And then before you know it, the night's getting deeper and deeper. And I personally think that Pelle did most of his drinking at the Coliseum. I think he had a couple at Bennigan's, but I think the Coliseum, I think the Coliseum is where most of the damage was done. And listen, it's 5:40 in the morning. The night should have ended a long time ago. You know, I just think that, you know, back then, again, with the loose culture, they're so young. They had just won their 10th game in a row. Mike Keenan gave the team 2 days off. It was sort of a time to kind of loosen the necktie, roll up the sleeves, and go, you know something? Right. We're on top of the hockey world right now. Let's enjoy it. Because that happened on a Saturday night into Sunday morning. Their next game was not until Thursday against Edmonton.
Which back then never happened. Never happened back then.
I think it did a few times. Now you don't see it as much.
Rare though.
Yeah, I remember, God, when I would follow the Bruins, they sometimes would go Saturday to Thursday without a game. But you're right; it's not every day.
Philadelphia was mostly, you could almost do a clockwork. It was Saturday, Sunday night game, and then you have Tuesday, Thursday was usually
right.
And so that was a quirk in the schedule for the Flyers.
And you know, too bad they weren't on the road the next day. But you know something, with that said, you know, people have told me this was an accident waiting to happen. Pelle loved to go fast. He loved the image of a shiny, brand new automobile. The Porsche 930, that was not meant to go slow. And when he pulled out of the Coliseum parking lot, this is all in the documentary, Kathleen McNeil basically said, hey, what are you doing? You don't have to show off to me. I mean, I've been in sports cars before. You saw that in the film.
I did.
So Pelle was, I mean, that was just a bad combination. He was drinking. It was late. He wanted to drop off Eddie Parvin at his house and come back. to the Coliseum. Again, the night just wouldn't end. And I remember telling Kathleen, how come the night just couldn't end already? And she said, good question. I wish it did end. I remember the way she said it. She was very emphatic.
Yeah. And without giving away parts of the film, it's so chilling to know what happened inside that car and to know what happened right after the accident and the whole rescue situation. Obviously we're not going to talk about that because that's part of the film, but anybody who watches that you will have goosebumps when you see that. It's just absolutely chilling to see or to hear and see what people went through at that moment and the moments afterwards.
Yeah, that's my job as a documentary filmmaker, to inform, educate, and raise awareness and bring the audience to the scene. I want the audience to feel like they were there.
You absolutely
and to get the first responders was very important. Yeah, I mean, it just this was a clean sweep. I'm lucky I was able to find Charlie Pope. I found him because I saw him in the Connie Chung piece that they did in 1985, right at the end around December.
December. I have it, actually. I have it recorded.
Yeah, people can watch it. I think it was a very short-lived show called American Almanac, I believe.
That's correct.
On NBC. It only lasted like a year or two with Connie Chung and another anchor.
Roger Mudd is his name.
Yeah, that's right. Very good, Justin. Very good. I mean, I must have seen that thing 42 times just for research purposes. And they got Kathleen McNeil. They didn't get Eddie Parvin, but they got Kathy. And Connie Chung did a good piece. And she had Charlie Pope on that. And I'm like, okay, I got to find Charlie Pope. The first thing I said to myself is, okay, I'm trying to find him 40 years later. Is he still alive? And Charlie Pope was alive. Obviously, he's in the movie. So, and then he connected me to a lady who performed CPR on Pelle. And I also found two other people, one officer who was the first guy in the scene, and another guy from fire. So we have it all covered, from fire, EMT, police, ambulance, you name it. The lead investigator, Charlie Pope. So the investigative angle, I think, is blanketed here. And yeah, I mean, I don't think many people know that Murray Craven was the only flyer who went to the crash site, and he was freaking out. He's only 21 years old. He doesn't, I doubt he knows much about death. He's just too young, unless he lost someone in his family. I don't think so, but he was freaking out to the point where the police detained him and said, you got to get into the patrol car because you're impeding our investigation. And Murray talked about that. He was in the car. He kept asking, is he going to be okay? Is he going to be okay? And then reality really hit Murray when they told him he'll be lucky to live.
Right. I know one of his questions was, will he ever play hockey again? And that's when the officer said he'll be lucky if he lives. And that's powerful. I mean, that's really
that's just real. That will stop you on your tracks. And it's like just hitting reality right there. And yeah, he did break his foot. He broke his neck. So had he survived, he would have been looking at just long-term rehabilitation. I think he would have eventually played again, but he may have had to have sit out half a year to a year because of all the extensive damages to him.
Yeah, I know. It was pretty severe. Obviously, it cost him his life.
Right.
Unbelievably, as we hit 40 years, one of the most horrible things, the most horrible irony that could have happened is that Bernie Perrant passed away in September.
Yeah.
And you probably have one of the last, if not the last, interview he's ever done on Pelle Lindbergh.
Yeah, I don't know that officially, Justin. I do know it's definitely one of his final ones. Yeah, one of them. Maybe the last one on record. And if his last interview was about Pelle Lindbergh, well, then maybe it was just meant to be that way. And I'll never forget, I was actually in the park with my mom, and you called me. You broke the news to me, and I just couldn't believe it because I felt like I knew Bernie from the interview. And here's kind of a crazy story. When I met Bernie for the interview, I met him at a bar called Chickies and Pete. And it was so loud in there that after we did the interview, my cameraman looks at it and goes, we can't use it because of the sound issue. Bernie had left with his wife. And I'm like, what the heck are we going to do? So my cameraman demands my phone from me. I was almost too embarrassed to call them, to tell them to come back. my cameraman didn't care. He knew he had to cover his own, you know what.
Yeah.
And then he said to me, Bernie's coming back. And I said, what? He said, they're going to turn around and come back. They were already on the road for 15 minutes. Bernie doesn't know me from a hole in the wall. I'm not Oliver Stone or Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg. I think he came back because of two reasons. A, he's just a good man that we all know. And secondly, he knew the topic was Pelle Lindbergh, a man that he loved. And I think that's what made him come back. And boy, am I happy that he came back, because we went to a much more quiet area. When I got to the bar, he was literally in the middle of a podcast with one of the Watson brothers. And I remember I was told, okay, in between breaks, you could interview Bernie about Pelle. And I remember saying to myself, okay, so that's all fine and dandy, but this is such a emotional, deep topic that I almost wish I had a nice, cozy one-on-one with Bernie in a very calm, quiet setting, so that Bernie can really get his thoughts together. Because I'm not asking him what he had for dinner last night. I'm asking him questions about Pelle Lindbergh, a guy that, Pelle idolized Bernie. Bernie was his idol and goalie coach. So this is a very deep topic. But listen, at the end of the day, we got the interview second time around. Not too many people know that story about what happened with the interview and how he turned around and came back. But I think that really showed Bernie's true colors. And for him to die 40 years later, I mean, there's a lot of parallels here and symbolisms. And Bernie's last dying wish to me for Pelle was for his jersey number to be next to his. So the 31 next to the 1. And I know you've heard me say this ad nauseum, but I'll say it on this show. The Flyers happen to be home this upcoming January 31st, 2026. They have a home game against the Kings. It's in the afternoon on a Saturday. I mean, you can't make this up. They could have easily have had the day off. They could have been on the road. They could have been sitting at the Four Seasons in Denver about to play the Avalanche. They're home on Saturday the 31st. That's the day to retire Pelle's number. The 1 next to the 31 on January 31st in 26, which is how long Pelle lived for.
26
so,
years.
Yeah, if they don't retire Pelle's number on that day, they're never going to retire it.
I do know that part of the pushback, there's two things that are part of the pushback, because I've talked to the Snyder family. I've talked to Bobby Clark. And you've seen my interviews on YouTube where I've talked to many people. So I have some connections within the team, not decision-making connections. But I've asked them, I said, why can't they make an exception in this case? And there are two things that they're worried about. One is the drunk driving aspect of the accident. And number two is Pelle didn't live long enough or play long enough to warrant being in the Hall of Fame, the Hockey Hall of Fame, and then get his jersey retired. And my argument to that is, number one, it's 40 years. I think we can let it go, the drunk driving thing. I think it's time to put that to bed. It happened. It was a mistake. He paid for it. The other thing about the Hall of Fame, Barry Ashby's number is retired, number 4, and he passed away from leukemia. He was not a Hall of Famer, so his number's retired. So that doesn't hold water either. And I'm wondering if it's the optics. I wonder if it's just the pushback. And why can't we let it go now? Why can't we just say, all right, we know what happened, but let's overlook that and do what I think and many people think is right. I know the Perrant family would love to see it happen in honor of not only Pelle, but their own father and brother,
So Justin, let me turn this around. Let me be the interviewer here. A, do you think it'll ever get done? And B, are you surprised that Mr. Snyder didn't do it? Because he lived through the 30-year anniversary.
Jay Snyder and I had a 2-hour conversation, and Jay Snyder said we threw that around for years, and it was the drunk driving that really was the key.
Yeah. Well, I was talking more about Ed.
Ed, we didn't get into it as much. We didn't get into that as much. I talked to Ed for about a half an hour. I talked to Jay for about 2 hours. Right. So it was a little different. But the biggest thing I think was the worry that there would be pushback because of the drunk driving. But at 40 years, I think it's time to let that go. And I think it's time to, I mean, obviously you and I can't make those decisions. I hope that people board the train and maybe we could push that to happen. I know Kim Perrant wants that to happen.
Well, Bernie told me that, I remember during the interview, this is in the film, he said, you know something, I'm going to push it. It's
Right.
been 40 years. He said that to me.
Yeah.
And if Bernie said it, well, then that carries a lot of credibility and weight.
Yeah.
So, like you said, it's been 40 years. It's not like it happened 2 years ago.
Right.
And if you look at some of the Facebook pages that memorialize Pelle to this day, why not do it for sentimental reasons?
Yeah.
And listen, he made a mistake. No one's denying that. But maybe it's time to really let it go and forgive him and go, look, he's not, yes, it's horrible what happened, drinking and driving. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, he's not the only one that's done that.
Right.
And people need second chances, whether they lived or even their image needs a second chance, because if we just live this way with guilt and never forgiving, and then we'd have even an angrier world on our hands. Kathy and Ed were very forgiving in their interviews. So when you look at the totality of this whole thing, 40 years, Pelle was beloved. The two survivors have no bitterness towards Pelle. At least that's what they told me.
Yeah.
The Facebook pages that are pushing for it. I mean, why not? It's kind of like that Detroit pitcher who got robbed of a perfect game, Galarraga. I thought Major League Baseball should have stepped in and go, you know something, we're going to make an exception here, because that blown call at first base by umpire Jim Joyce would have ended the game. It's not like that was a second out.
Yeah.
So they could have called that a no-hitter, a perfect game, something that Galarraga never got. Or maybe they could one day down the road give him that perfect game. Hopefully it won't be 40 years. But yeah, I mean, I think in the Pelle case, you can certainly make the argument that his number should be officially retired, even though they're saying, well, it's unofficially retired. Nobody has worn it since.
Then
But
just make it official.
Well, I just think if you're going to retire a number, do it the right way. Have the jersey number up in the rafters. And I tell you, when that 1 and 31 are next to each other, it might be the loudest moment in Wells Fargo history as the banner's going up and the 31 inserts very nicely next to the 1. And we could all then move forward.
Yeah. Now, I know we're running up against the time, but I want to tell you a couple of things on the air. I want to thank you, because 20 years ago, when I started to try to develop a documentary and or a book, didn't know what was going to happen. I did so many interviews and so much hard work and really tried everything. And the fact that you gave me a chance to be a small, tiny part of this, to be able to, for you to ask me editorial questions, and to know that you watched some of my interviews and got some ideas from that, and to ask me to pick up Kathy tomorrow at the airport and take her to a hotel, just have small parts in this. You made part of my life's dream come true, and I really appreciate that.
Well, Justin, I mean, I appreciate you as a friend. You've been a much bigger part in this movie than you think. When I was doing my initial research and Googling Pelle on YouTube, your stuff came up. And I love the way you interview people. You're very respectful. You have a great tone about you. Your timing is good. Your questions are excellent. You have the DNA of Broad Street. I don't. So I learned a lot from you. And you're an inspiration to me because of your passion and your knowledge of the Flyers. And if anyone deserves to do a documentary on Keenan's kids, it's you, because you lived through it. And again, you care about it. You're from the area. I'm just a objective outsider who came in, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think sometimes maybe if someone's from the outside, they're so objective and they're not going to play any favorites. Not saying you would. I think you would do a bang up job, but I learned a lot from you as well. So your praise just now means a lot. But I really hope that if this film succeeds, I would really want to do anything in my power to get you to make Keenan's kids, because that's a worthy story.
That would be amazing, Charlie. I would really, really appreciate that. We've both been lucky to get the inside with such important people of that era, and that's really, really great. That's really important.
Yeah, it's a big part of Flyers history, and I think I've told you this a lot of times. The '80s was my era. The game today is too soft.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was To me, that was true hockey. It was real hockey back in the 70s and 80s. It was sincere intimidation. The Spectrum was just there's no place like the Spectrum.
No.
And just my emotions growing up watching it on TV. I felt scared watching a game at the Spectrum. You know, you felt that I this is dead honest. Watching a game, you knew there was going to be physicality. You knew there were going to be fights, whether it was Glenn Cochran or Ben Wilson or Mel Bridgman. I mean, these were truly the Broad Street bullies.
Yep.
And hockey's kind of lost that now. You know, this Flyer team now, I'm not even quite sure what their identity is. There's just no identity. You know, back in the day with the Spectrum, it was family. And I always thought Philadelphia was a family-oriented city, epitomized by all the arenas being next to each other. No other city has that closeness. So, you look at hockey now, it's gotten too corporate. You know, the charm of the old buildings, the Spectrum, Montreal Forum, Chicago Stadium, Boston Garden, that was hockey. Now it's become just like a circus, like a sideshow with these corporate arenas, and it's so overpriced, and the food and the parking. I mean, you take your family out to a hockey game, you're looking at losing $500 just like that, and you don't even know what hit you.
Right.
So that charm has been lost, unfortunately. It's just a sign of the times, and the game is just too soft today. It's just, I mean, the other night watching that first period, I don't know how I got through the first period of the Calgary Flyers game. I mean, that should not be seen to anybody. It was 0-0. I think the shots were like 5-3 Calgary. I'm like, this is not hockey. I don't know what you call this. I mean, you might as well just play ping pong. You might as well play ping pong.
Certainly the 80s were the sweet spot. That's for sure. Now, Dr. Jacklin, I know we're up against the clock. You said we have some comments. Do we have time to take those or not? It's totally up to you. I want to. Oh, Jim Corn said, I'm honored to be listening here. Thank you. Or here listening. Thank you, Jim. We really appreciate you being a part of the show and your comments. So thank you for that. Hey, Claire, how are you? Claire is a frequent guest of our show. So thank you, Claire. There were two bars at the Coliseum. One was outside the pool, one upstairs. I think the other one was called Kelly's, if I remember right. I think it was called Kelly's.
So just to make matters worse, now there were two bars, right? How about a third? Let's just have a third one. Why? Just for the heck of it.
Claire said they served her when she was underage. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's
part of that 80s loose culture.
Barb Strachan, how do we get to see the film? Well, Barb, you want to go to the website. It is the www.swedeofphiladelphia.com. www.swedeofphiladelphia.com. And really good news, Dr. Jacklin is going to be in attendance on the 7th. She's going to be at Cherry Hill. She's going to go to the one in Cherry Hill.
Are any of the listeners or the people commenting, are they from the Philadelphia, South Jersey area?
Yes. Yes, but around the world. So we're around the world too. So if you're in Sweden, if you're in Europe, somewhere else, you can't see the film at the theater, but when it's streaming eventually.
Well, if you have a Sweden connection, then you got to see the movie. It's called The Swede of Philadelphia.
That's right.
And I actually contacted the consulate to let them know about the documentary, and they were very thankful. They're like, "Oh, thanks for letting us know," because hockey in Sweden is a religion.
And one of the reasons is Pelle Lindbergh.
Yeah, Pelle Lindbergh played on the 1980 Swedish Olympic team, and he's famous for being the only team not to lose to the United States. The goal-winning United States hockey team in 1980, led by the captain, Mike Eruzione, and the goaltending by Jim Craig.
Yeah. So Amo Gracia is going to be there, a friend of mine, play hockey with him. So as we wrap up the show, I know we're running a little bit over. I just wanted to say again, thank you, Charlie. You really did a wonderful job. I again appreciate you letting me live out a little bit of my dream too with this, and what you've done to help my charity Checkmates has been helpful. We're trying to help as many people as we can. Kevin Pulse has been very, very good for us. I mean, I think he's done a great job in promoting and all those things. So it's going to be a special night Wednesday. I think it's going to be a great night on Friday. We'll both be in Voorhees, Charlie and I in Voorhees.
Yeah. Yep.
The Perrott family will be there. The first responders will be there. Kathy McNeil will be there. So
and Ed Parvin too, I was told.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, he texted me. He said, I'm going to go to Voorhees at 7:30. So if people go to the 7:30 show on Friday night in Voorhees, first of all, the tickets have already gone over 100 for that show. So if you're going to get your ticket, get it now, because I think it's going to sell out. The 7:30 p.m. in Voorhees, and we have that sneak preview Wednesday night in Oaks, Pennsylvania, at the Oaks Center Cinema. And we also added a showing on Thursday at Oaks too. So Oaks kind of got the lead on this, but AMC Cherry Hill, AMC Voorhees especially, and then you see some of the other AMCs. I still don't have the showtime for that. They have to give it to me obviously as soon as possible, if not by tomorrow. And AMC Neshaminy, possibly Plymouth Meeting, and also maybe one other location. So we need to really hit and give some love to the Pennsylvania burbs, because at first it was only in South Jersey and downtown Philly. And I know some people don't like driving that far. They don't like driving in. I get it, with the hassle, with the parking and the traffic. So that's why getting it into some of the Philadelphia suburbs on the PA side is very important.
Yep. And as we wrap up, I just want to say one thing. We are going to have a little bit of an after party on November 7th, the Friday that we're going to be.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So anybody who would like to attend the party, it's not going to be formal. It's going to be informal because it's very hard. I want you to reach out to me at justin@checkmatescharity.com. What we're going to try to do is, there's a restaurant nearby that's open until 2:00 in the morning. We're going to watch the film and then just get together and celebrate. Kathy McNeil will be there. I'm hoping the Perrott family will be there with Kim and maybe her mother Carol and her brothers. That'd be great. So
and Chuck Basty's driving down.
Chuck Basty, yes, amazing
Your
friend
buddy.
of mine. Yeah, I've known
Great
him
guy.
now for a long time. Yeah, great person from Toronto.
Yeah.
He's very connected in the NHL. So yeah, reach out to me, Justin@checkmatescharity.com. We'll talk about if you want dinner. But Charlie Minn, I want to thank you, A, for being the great friend that you are, and B, allowing me to be just a part of this, and C, just doing this for Pelle and for Bernie now too.
Yeah. And Justin, right back at you. You've been a tremendous help. And like I said, during my research, you were a big source. And if anyone listens to Justin, if he ever makes Keenan's Kids, watch the way he interviews people. He's so respectful.
Charlie, I appreciate that very much.
Yeah. You got it. All right.
So I'll see you this week, buddy.
Yeah, you got it. Talk to you soon.
Right.
Thanks, everybody. All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. I know we went a little over, so I want to thank Dr. Jacqueline for the little extra time that we had. And it's just going to be an amazing night. It's something that's been a dream of mine for a long time. And to be associated with it is just, I never thought this would happen 40 years ago when I was a 10-year-old kid crying on my bed when I found out that Pelle was gone. And now to be able to do this is just phenomenal. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And I hope I see you this week at the movies. So come to Oaks, Cherry Hill, Voorhees. I'll be at Voorhees and Oaks Wednesday, Voorhees 7:30 on Friday. So that's it for you as a whole, body, mind, and soul. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Charlie Minn. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline, and all those who participated. Have a great week.
Nestled in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Horseshoe Farm has always been more than a destination. It's a living, breathing reflection of community, connection, and transformation. Once a humble family farmstead, it has evolved over the years to become a sanctuary for travelers, seekers, families, and friends alike. Originally reimagined by the Turchin family as an Airbnb property, the farm began its journey into hospitality with simple roots, welcoming guests to experience the beauty and peace of the sacred land. As word spread and the vision deepened, the property organically blossomed into a boutique resort, rooted in the values of slow living, intentional experiences, and the magic of gathering. Today, the Horseshoe Farm is a 90-acre experiential retreat that merges hospitality, wellness, and culinary excellence. It is home to the Stable Spa, the Silo Cookhouse, distinctive lodging options, and a curated calendar of events that nourish mind, body, and spirit. Our guest experience is designed to be both grounding and expansive, where the comforts of luxury meet with the simplicity of nature. At its core, the Horseshoe Farm is about transformation of land, of self, and of community. We are proud of where we've come from. We are confident in who we are today and excited for the road ahead. Hello, I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, also known as the Listening Mentor and President and Founder of USA Global TV and Radio. I had the opportunity, the pleasure of attending a retreat at the Horseshoe Farm just recently. I was so impressed with all of the opportunities that were presented to me in this glorious setting, as well as the highest level of customer service, that I've decided to put together a retreat at the Horseshoe Farm in Hendersonville, North Carolina, United States of America, June 3rd through the 6th, 2026. You can expect to have a beautiful time of relaxation combined with learning, community, collaboration. Do consider joining me in this wonderful opportunity to reconnect with yourself, with others, and with nature. For more information, email me at drjacqueline@usaglobaltv.com.
Every woman carries a story of strength, of purpose, of light. Through her courage, the world is transformed. Through her grace, generations are inspired. This is Iconic Women. Within Every Woman Lives a Goddess, a celebration of brilliance, beauty, and empowerment. Join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. London time, only here on USA, Global TVR, and Radio. Featuring the iconic Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, honoring voices that shine across the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, to watch and engage with all our content. World-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by executive producer and director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.